Hello everyone, welcome back to Durbanites FPL Game Week 25 review, Game Week 26 preview. It's here guys, the first double game week of the season. Let's jump in and have a look at what things look like on the table. Roboclop still up front, now extending a lead by another 8 points, over 100 points the lead still. It is looking a bit crazy with just 13 game weeks left. Zakia still doing really well. Dora the scorer kind of getting the jump on her a little bit. Alu Boys makes the jumps to 4 as well, and Coconut Staron drops out of the top 10. Let's look at how that does impact the bottom half of the table. Fatality now just less than 20 points away from jumping into the first page as well. Not so good for our other champion, down in 17th. Ansu having a fantastic week with 84, but look at what's happening there at the bottom, just 8 points separating Obi-Wan Iwobi from Zaru. Zaru, she's got to start looking at how she can pick up the game. Now, looking at what that means in terms of player selections for this week, still only 3 staples. Erling Haaland staying steady at 85%, Gabriel Magalhaes on 60%, and Trevor Chalobah on 60% ownership as well. Aside from those, let's look at who created the differentiation this week. Crescencio Somerville doing really well once again. 5% means one owner that had him. Unfortunately, I think had him on the bench as well, so that didn't really work out. Victor Gyökeres is coming back with 2 goals to get onto the team sheet this week. Diogo Dalot doing well, 2 owners having him, as well as Martin Zubimendi. The two Brunos, Bruno Guimaraes and Bruno Fernandes, both of them owned by 3 managers each, both coming in with double figures this week, and Maxence Lacroix coming in with a good return for Crystal Palace's first win in a dozen games or so, so that's quite an impact that he's made. In terms of hits and misses, look at that. Super strikers for Azra, Hassan, Maibai, Mohamed Amin and Umair, but an elite striker for Fatih and Umair as well, so doing really well there with the top striker selection. Stonewalls for Hassan, Atta, Bahai, Squish and Ansu, all doing really well in defense as well, and an iron wall for Didi, so well done for him. But look at that, a midfield maestro, awesome selection of Cole Palmer with a captain's armband, 50 plus points for Ansu, helping her to get to the big 84 this week. Hot bench for Azra though, 19 plus points sitting on the bench, not a very good week for her there, she could have done much better. Now, looking at where that leaves us for the team selections, Dean Henderson getting the number 1 position and putting Raya on the bench. Then we've got Diouf, Dalot and Lacroix making up the backline. Dalot gets the captain's armband for his 12 points in that win against Tottenham Hotspur, leaving Wan-Bissaka and Richards on the bench. Bruno Guimaraes, Rogers, Martin Zubimendi, Bruno Fernandes and Crescencio Somerville, all of them making it onto the midfield slots, and then Erling Haaland and Victor Gyökeres leading the line. João Pedro not doing well enough to get off the bench this week. This team would have got you 127, 158 including the bench boost, very close to the max cost, so 99.4, still very affordable though for most teams as well. Now, when we deep dive into it and start looking at the matchups for the next 10 weeks, importantly, Wolves and Arsenal doubling up this week, as you can see. And what that impacts is we would not recommend Wolves going up against Forest in a relegation battle, and then Arsenal, who are looking to really fry them this week so that they can extend the lead at the top of the table. Then you've got Sunderland coming in for some tough games as well, as are Spurs. Spurs are now without Christian Romero after his red card, means he will miss the next 4 games and be back in time for Liverpool. They also have a host of injuries that will look like, and they've got Newcastle, Arsenal, Fulham and Crystal Palace in those 4 games. Looking at Fulham though, they've got City this week and then Sunderland and Tottenham, not a very easy run-up before they start having some better games. And then of course looking at Brentford, they've got Arsenal coming up, then Brighton, Burnley and then Bournemouth, so not one to favour this week. So when we look at how that will impact our selection, Sulls is out for Nottingham Forest currently, and he's joined on the defensive side by Colwell, James, Livramento from Newcastle, Scher from Newcastle, Guardiola still out for City, Frimpong for Liverpool, Pedro Porro out for Spurs, and Romero out for Spurs as well because of that suspension, Dogu out for Manchester United still. And then we're looking at the picks. Raya for the double game week is a great pick as a goalkeeper. Henderson doing really well with Crystal Palace. Then you've got Sanchez also for Chelsea doing really well in this run of fixtures. Gabriel and Timber are the obvious double up on Arsenal defense if that's where you want to go. Matty Cash at Aston Villa, some tough games but also some good opportunities for him. Gehi, of course, for Manchester City is the outstanding defender at this moment in time. Chaloba at Chelsea, Lacroix and Richards at Crystal Palace, and Dallo for Manchester United because he's pretty much guaranteed to have that slot now that Dogu is injured for now. Then looking at the midfield, Spurs again, Madison, Kulusevski and Kudus all out among other injuries of not so prominent players. Shard is still out for Brentford, Doku out for City, Tavernier out for Bournemouth. Grealish will probably not play again this season, guys. So if you have him, now's the time to sell. Joe Linton out for Newcastle. Gordon is still doubtful for Newcastle. Xhaka is still out for Sunderland, which is why they've been looking a bit raggedy at this moment in time. McGinn and Tielemans out for Aston Villa is really going to add to their woes. Saka is still doubtful for Arsenal, and Szoboszlai picking up that red card against Manchester City means he is not available for the game this week. So slim pickings indeed. Rodgers and Douglas Luiz for Aston Villa, who are definitely holding that midfield. Semenyo for Manchester City, he's definitely kept his form from Bournemouth and is just doing better. And then we have Declan Rice at Arsenal and Zubimendi, both of them really scoring well, and in the double game week you might want to look at them. Wirtz for Liverpool, Chelsea doing really well as well, Palmer with a return last week, and Enzo. Then you've got Mbumo and Cunha, and then Bruno Fernandes, all for Manchester United. Choose based on what your budget allows you. And then, of course, Ismail Assar, who's becoming the focal point at Crystal Palace. With that, let's get into the forward line then. Richarlison still out for Spurs, Wood out for Notts Forest, Isak still out after that surgery, and Nketiah and Mateta both not available at Crystal Palace, and that leaves them very slim up front. But then from the picks as well, Haaland is there for City after 11 points this weekend. Let's see if he can do better. Now we've got Thiago there for Brentford. Even if you're not favouring him in the next couple of weeks, he does have some fantastic fixtures after that. It would definitely be a hold from my side. João Pedro is definitely scoring well, and two more chances for him to get really good points in the game weeks ahead. Solanke from Spurs didn't have a great week last week, but now he has a chance to help Spurs in the next 5 games to get some points. Jared Bowen also struggling when you really depend on him, but does have a good run that has come up. Not sure if I would recommend him this week against Manchester United, but you never know. It's a relegation battle. Krupi Jr. is a great low-cost pickup from Bournemouth, even versus Evan Nilsson. Definitely has a better scoring record for the minutes that he gets. From Arsenal, again focusing on these guys of Havertz and Gyökeres because of double in this game week. I'm sure they will get minutes. Gabby Jesus might also get minutes, but he is easily the third choice in this forward line. Then you've got Watkins coming back from injury, so he's ready to go. I would think with Tammy Abraham not really having the impact that they expected, he will then move back to the bench. And Jürgen Strand-Larsen, time for him to represent his new club, Crystal Palace, after moving from Wolves. Now he has the chance to do that with Nketiah and Mateta out. And then we're definitely recommending just one player from Wolves, and that's Mane, who's been doing really well. He's a super forward. Not sure whether he will get many points this weekend, but if you're deciding to free hit as an example to maximize on the double, maybe think about putting Mane in as one of your forwards. He could very possibly score and pick up a few points for you this week. So guys, that's all we have for now. It's a very short game week. Don't forget that the deadline is this evening, 7 o'clock European time, 8 o'clock South African time. Make sure you don't miss out. It is a critical double game week. If you miss this one, potentially you could end up losing quite a bit in the long run. So make sure you have your alarm set. 8 o'clock South African time, 7 p.m. European time. See you then. So that's all we have for this week, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment. Let us know whether the guy will get his haircut there after Manchester United beat West Ham, or whether Spurs will end up in a relegation battle as well. Until then, so long for now.